In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to make a 50-30-20 budget in Excel. I'm going to walk you through from a blank spreadsheet all the way to a fully functional budget. Using a 50-30-20 budget like the one I'm going to show you today is the same way I've helped clients prioritize their spending and create a budget that works for their specific financial situation. Now, if you want to skip this whole make your own spreadsheet and make your own budget situation, you can grab my pre-made 50-30-20 budget template for just $10. The link is down in the description. Or if you want a more customized version of your budget, I offer a done-for-you budget service where I actually make a fully customized budget for you that is specifically designed to your financial situation. And that done-for-you service is also linked in the description. Okay, it's time to make your budget. Let's open up Excel and get started. We're going to start here in column A, and we're going to type in total income. We're going to do total expenses. We're going to do net income. And I'm going to just slide this column A over so it can fit everything in there. All right, now we're going to skip a row and we're going to type in normal month right here. What the normal month is intended for is to show your expected income, expected expenses, and you can compare each of the months, January through December, back to this column B, this normal month category. To the right of normal month, we're going to start typing in our dates, and I'm just going to type in January, February. I don't want to type in the whole thing, and if I am correct in this, we should be able to highlight those at the same time. And then this little square, if we drag that over, you see how it's kind of filling in that for me. That can just fill in for you, which is really nice, so you don't have to type that a bunch. I'm going to center that because I like to have those centered. I'm going to do a lot of formatting things along the way in this budget. You can format yours however you want. I'm just going to show you my preferences for my budget format. All right, at the top now, we can actually type in like the name of your budget or the year of your budget. So 50, 30, 20 budget, 2025. You type that there. And one thing we can do then is to merge all of these. Again, this is a formatting thing. You do not need to do this formatting thing. Give me a second. Ooh, merge and center. That's got what we want. Merge and center. Boom. We can increase the font size on that if we want. Make it 14. We could bold it. We're just going to leave it at that for right now. I don't use Excel as often as I use Google Sheets, so sometimes on Excel it takes me a hot second to find the buttons I'm looking for. So if you're thinking to yourself, spreadsheets are overwhelming, I never know what to do, same boat. All right, the first section I like to create in my budget is income. And I'm going to type in job or income 1, income 2, income 3. You can type the names of your income. So I'm a teacher, and so I can type in teaching income. I could type in YouTube income. I could type in bartending, whatever my jobs and my actual income are. And you can do the same thing. So put in the actual names of your jobs there. I'm going to center where it says income here, and I'm going to bold it because that seems fun and it kind of like sets it apart. And then we're going to type in total income. This is where our very first formula comes into play. And if you're someone where formulas start to overwhelm you, and especially when dealing with spreadsheets, I'm going to show you a couple of very simple formulas throughout this that you can apply to a lot of different spreadsheets, especially if you're looking at making spreadsheets that involve money and budgets. You're going to type in equals, type in sum, left parenthesis, and then I'm just going to highlight, click and drag that columns that I wanted to add up. So this is going to tell my spreadsheet that is going to add up everything I type in here. So if this is 500, this is 1,000, and this is 200, it just adds those up for me, which is exactly what I want it to do. One thing you'll notice with this is none of these are formatted as money. You don't need to format them as money. I think it's a good idea to with a budget, so we're going to do that. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to click this like little square right here, and it's going to highlight the entire budget. And then I'm going to go to format right up here at the very top. I'm going to format the cells. And this brings up this little menu here. I want mine to be currency. I want mine to have 2 decimals. I want it to look like that and hit OK. So now I'm going to format that as currency. You can see it does that very nicely. I can delete those numbers there because I don't have a normal income right yet. And now we're going to set up our next section, which is going to be our needs. And again, needs should be approximately 50% of your income. So I'm just going to do that, bold and center that one more time. And now this is where we're going to type in the needs. These are your bills. These are the things you absolutely have to pay every single month. And so if you haven't done any prep work before seeing this video, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, what are my bills? You can just pause this video. You can start typing these in right now. I'm not going anywhere, especially if you hit pause. So hit pause, start typing in some of your needs, your bills, the things that you have to pay, usually have a due date every single month. So I'm going to do that here. I'm actually going to probably copy and paste them from a different budget, so it takes a little bit less time. But some things that for sure are going to be on there, like mortgage and rent. You probably have a cell phone, electricity, water, internet. Okay, as I mentioned, I've just copied and pasted some things over from a previous budget that I've made, but I'm just gonna kind of go through and highlight some of these. So if you were making your budget and you're like, oh yeah, I also have that as part of my needs, it's in here. So water, internet, household stuff like toilet paper, shampoo, soaps. The amount of soaps a person needs to buy as an adult is insane. Medical bills, medications, daycare, household supplies, car payments, gas, again, credit cards. Well, imagine that these are all of my needs. These should have accounted about 50% of my budget. Now we will again want to add all this up. We want a total. So we're going to do total needs here. And just like we did before, we're going to do the same formula. Equals sum, left parentheses, and then we're going to highlight all of that. Again, it automatically formatted as money just like it did before. So if our rent is $1,500, we pay $130 on our, or $140 on our cell phone. Electricity is $100. You can see it adds that up automatically for us, exactly what we want it to do. Now I want to insert a formula that is going to help you quickly assess whether your needs are meeting that 50% mark of your income. And so we're going to type in actual income percent of needs here. And this one's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to do equals, a left parenthesis. We're going to take this total needs, so just click the cell, hit this like backslash, which is going to mean division for us, and we're going to click in cell B2, which is where we've got our total income, and hit right parenthesis. You'll notice this comes up with an error message because I don't have any numbers in those. So if we'll go back up here, we'll do 1,000, 2,000, and 500. So our total income is 3,500, which I actually just realized I missed a formula. I'll get to it in a second. Our mortgage, we'll do 1,500. We'll just start putting some numbers in here once again. So we'll add it up for it. You see that this is still not working. Part of the reason is our total income isn't showing up here. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that this total income is the same as this. We can do equals, we can do sum again. And this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to highlight those. That's my income. So that should match with that. And now when I come down here, this has calculated exactly how it's supposed to, except for we've got it formatted as dollars. We want it formatted as a percent. So if I just click this and highlight it and do percent, we're right at about 51% based off of the things I've entered so far. So we can see that it is doing what we want it to do. It is calculating the percentage of our needs category in comparison to our income. As we're going, a couple of formatting things I want to do before we move into our next section. The formatting thing that I want to do is when I scroll down, I want to be able to see everything on the top. So what we are going to do is we are going to come to this cell here. I want you to click in. For me, it is B7. It should be B7 for you as well. And what I want to do is when I scroll down, I still want to be able to see everything on the top. I want to be able to see all of this all the way across. And if I scroll to the right, I also want to be able to see my first column, column A. So what we need to do is freeze those cells so they stay fixed as we scroll. And so if I click, I believe right here, we're going to go to view. Just kidding. We're going to go to view right here. And right here, I want to click freeze panes. And what that did is it froze everything above where I clicked, and it is freezing everything to the left of where I clicked, which is perfect. Next, we're going to move on to our wants section. Want should be about 30% of your income. I'm going to bold that. I'm going to click back to home. We're going to center that. And at this point, actually, I'm going to save my worksheet in progress because in Excel you need to save. So I'm just going to save this so that I don't lose my progress. And I encourage you to also save yours. Practice budget. Love that. Now, wants can cover a variety of different expenses. And someone might also categorize this as like entertainment expenses or things that aren't bills that are still nice and fun to have. So I'm just going to put some in here. A gym membership would be a really great want. Date night. Hobbies can fit into this. Hanging out with friends, like a social or community budget. If you partake in alcohol, that can fit into this category. Going out to the movies, clothes, dining out. The wants category could honestly go on forever and ever and ever. You can put into the wants kind of what for you doesn't fit into your need. A big part of the 50-30-20 budget is listing out all of your expenses and then categorizing, is this a want, is this a need, or does this fall under savings and debt? Savings and debt is a lot easier than the needs and the wants, but you have to prioritize those things for yourself. Is this a need or is this a want? I'm going to leave the wants category as that. So now we are going to add up our total wants. So we're going to use the same formula that we use for our needs and our income. We're going to hit equals, sum, left parenthesis, and I'm just going to highlight those cells, close my parenthesis, and it's going to add those up. I'm going to do the same thing for this actual income percent of wants equals left parenthesis, this number, our total, divided by B2. And again, we have to reformat this to make sure it is a percentage. And right now it's 0% because my total wants are 0. If I start adding things into this, you can see that that percentage is changing and going up. And I want it to hover right around 30%. And lastly, we are on to savings and debt. Savings and debt should comprise about 20% of our income. Once again, I'm going to bold that. I'm going to center it for formatting. This is where your savings goals come into play. And the reason I like this budget model is because it prioritizes making sure that you are saving money every month. You're taking a part of your income and dedicating it to savings and almost treating it like a bill, treating it like an expense. That way, you're not waiting to the end of the month to hope you have money left over. You are planning for it in advance, which is what I love about budgeting. You can plan and prioritize for the things that matter instead of just hoping you got money for savings at the end. So I always recommend having an emergency fund. Vacation is a real fun thing to save money for. New car. I'm just putting some in. You're going to put in your own savings goals that you have, and you can use any of the ones that I have here as inspiration, or if you have a similar goal, you can just add it in. Holidays. I celebrate Christmas, and so having money that I save every single month for Christmas is amazing compared to getting to Christmas and going, oh God, how are we going to afford all these presents? I'm planning for it ahead of time with my budget. All right, now that I've got a few savings goals on there, now I'm going to add in the debt part of this. And this is intended for extra payments towards your debt because your minimum payments are covered in your needs category that we have above up here. We've got our credit cards and our student loans. And now we're going to add in extra payments. So extra payment to credit card 1. And if you're using a debt snowball method or a debt avalanche, you probably are only targeting one debt at a time for an extra payment to maximize getting out of debt faster. And if you want more information on how to set up a debt snowball, I've got several videos on how to do that in Google or Excel. Just check those links out in the description. This is also a good section to put any investments you have. So if you have a Roth IRA, you can add that in here, or a 401k, you can add that in there as well. And so now we're going to total this out. So now we're going to use the same formula that we've used in the other sections to add these up. So we're going to equals sum left parenthesis, and you're probably getting close to being a formula expert right now. This is the main formula that I use in almost all of my budgets. It's going to total that up. Again, we can test it by adding in some dollars, and it's going to add up just how we want. Beautiful. All right, and now we're going to do actual income percent. All right, so again, equals, and we're going to do this cell divided by our income to get a percentage, and it's coming up as dollars. So once again, we're going to change that to a percentage, and we can test this out, and it does adjust just like we want it to. Right now, we have formulas set up to automatically calculate our income, your expenses, including your wants, needs, and your savings and debt, all the categories of the 50-30-20 budget. Now we want those formulas to also calculate those up here, just like we have our income. So your total expenses, you're going to type in a formula once again, and it's the same formula. It is sum, left parenthesis, but now we need to click on specific cells. And the ones you're going to click on, you're going to click on your one that says total needs. We're going to click that and do a comma. We're going to scroll down to total wants, click that and make a comma. And then your total savings and debt, click that and close your parentheses. So it should look something like that. Your exact numbers here, mine says B38, B51, B63, might be different based on how many budget categories you have, but it should look something like that, and I can hit enter and it's going to calculate all of those for me. And just to test that, if I want to like add an internet here, do $100, it should change that in there, which it did. All right, the next thing we need to do our net income. This is our income minus our expenses. So it's going to be equals, and we're just going to do our income, a subtraction sign, our expenses, and that's it. Okay, so right now, our entire normal, typical, expected expenses and income is in here. Okay, all the formulas work exactly how they're supposed to. But now I want all of those formulas to translate across for every single month. And to do that, it's actually really simple. It's the same way we got all of these months to fill in automatically. We're just going to highlight these three numbers or cells. I'm going to click this little box here, and I'm going to drag it over. And it should apply that here. Yep, we wanted to, sometimes in Excel, it will try to do the next number up for you, add like the next number. And if it does that, you just want to click this little button that popped up here and click copy cells. So now that formula for me is copied in all these cells. And to test that, actually before we test that, we have to do that in all these total columns. So our total income, we want to once again drag that over. Your total needs, click the little square, drag that over. Total wants, click the little square, drag that over. And what this does, it just copies the formula you already did, that sum formula, into the other month column. And we're going to do actually the same thing for your percentage formula that we did. And it should hopefully do it as a percentage. We'll just double check here. It does do it as a percent, exactly how we wanted. We're going to do the same thing for our percentage of wants and a percentage of needs. Let me just double check to make sure we've got all the formulas drug over that we want. We absolutely do. And now your budget is honestly set up for calculating your income and expenses every single month and ensuring that your budget is following that formula: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and additional debt payments. At this point, we could call your budget done, set up, and ready to use. But I want to add two more columns to the right-hand side that I use in my budget that help me just kind of look at overall trends in my spending. First one is going to be total per month. And the next is going to be total. Total, I'm going to center both of these. The total is actually pretty easy. This is adding all of your budget categories from January to December in one column. So for that, I'm going to hit equals sum, and I'm just going to click from this January all the way over. Make sure you do not include column B. That is your expected or your normal month. And so don't include that one. And so I've done that once. I'm just going to drag that down. And I'm going to do the same. Actually, what I can do is I can just drag this all the way down. We're going to cheat a little bit here. We're going to just drag this all the way down, all the way across, like that. And we're just going to delete the ones it doesn't apply to. So the ones that show up with the percent here, we can delete those. Doesn't apply to those. The ones that are like in between our budget, doesn't apply to that. All right, that's exactly what I want it to do. So I've got these, and that saved me a ton of work. I noticed that a couple of little green triangles popped up, and it says, hey, this doesn't include adjacent cells. So this is trying to include these numbers we've typed in our normal month column. We don't want to include those, so we're just going to ignore this error. We can do that for all of those. I think ignore the error. I'll get rid of them. If it really bugs you, it kind of bugs me a little bit, so I'm going to do it. All right, and now we're going to calculate the total per month. This will help us see how much we're spending for each budget category on average for every single month, because some things like your groceries are going to fluctuate, your dining out is going to fluctuate, and sometimes it's good to see what those trends are. And this is pretty easy again. We're going to hit equals, and then we're going to take the column next to it, the total, and we're going to divide it by 12. And this is showing up at $83.33 because it's dividing it by 12. If I were to have more income, you can see that those numbers are going up. So it's taking the income and it's including these zeros into that average. And I should be able to drag that down, and it is doing the same, all those divided by 12. And I'm just going to drag that down again because that seems like the easiest way to do it. And then just delete the ones that are in between that I don't need. Something like that. You can see that it is calculating those ones that do have numbers in them just how I want it to. And at this point, your budget is set up and ready to go. It's ready to use for every single month. If you wanted to do some formatting and color coding, like make your income section green, you can totally highlight that and highlight it green. If you wanted to then make this one a different color green, like a darker green, because it's the heading, you can do that. You can make this whole thing green because it's all income related, and your expenses are red because it's spending money. If you wanted to do that, you certainly could. That's more of an orange. And then your net income, maybe do it green again. Here's the final copy of the budget that I have as a budget template that you can download. I color code it because I like color coding. It helps me read it better. If you don't like color coding, you can leave your budget that you just built exactly how it is. And this exact budget here is just $10. The link's down in the description. You can grab that at any time. Even if you made your own budget, but you're like, ooh, that one looks nicer and I want that one, you can totally do that too. So if you followed along all this way and built your own budget, awesome job. You have a budget that works, it functions, and it should reflect your income, expenses, savings goals, and debts, and all of those things specific to your finances. Or if you want a more customized version where I will just make a budget for you, I'll get rid of all the stuff that you don't need and will only have your specific money situation, income, expenses, savings goals designed just for you. And that link is down in the description as well. And now that you've got your budget all set up and ready to go, you've got a plan for your money. The next step, if you have debt, is making a debt snowball spreadsheet so you can plan and organize paying off your debt. So to set up a debt snowball spreadsheet, you're going to want to watch this video next.